Hey riders, it's Wednesday morning, and guess what? It's race day. We are just a few minutes away from starting Mamaki's championship race. I believe it's number 8, I think I see here. Upcoming events. Let me see if I can find this. We're at this point where I'm kind of clunky using this stuff here. Um, Events. Let's find this here. And I think it starts at 10:15, so here we go. This one right here starts in 3 minutes. Mamaki's Championship Race 08_18, 31.28 kilometers. Check this out. 136 riders are currently registered. Number's probably going to pop up a little bit more in the last couple of minutes here. 535 meters of climbing. So how this one's laid out, as you can see on the bottom here, let's just take a look at this little mini profile map. Falls flat for, I would say, 2/3 of the race. Well, at least half the race is falls flat, maybe little bits of rollers. Then, say, maybe a quarter of the race, maybe a little bit under that. You start climbing a little bit more. We're going to hit a kick, a downhill, and then into quite a good little climb at the end that's really going to push these riders hard. One thing that's going to happen here is it's going to be a combination of trying to balance going out too hard to keep up with those nice drafting partners at the beginning and not blowing yourself up, and saving something for these last 2 climbs. Or do you just go out hammer time and try to get on a little bit of a break by yourself and get over that first hill by yourself? We'll see how it plays out. Until they get this part fixed up here on Rouvy, I can't watch right away. I could have, I think I accidentally registered myself by just joining the race and joining the warm-up, so sorry I screwed the count up there a little bit. It's -1 rider. So what I'm going to do is go to events again. You can see here it's 10:13 my time, so it should be starting very soon. Yeah, here's the joined event here, but it still means I can't watch it until it starts. Now we're at 1 minute to start time. So what I did last time is I just had to keep playing around with it. So obviously, if you want to do something like this at home yourself, you want to watch other people race, which a lot of us do, it's these joined events you want to check out, or this upcoming event right here. So I'm just going to flip back to the home. As soon as it starts, I'm going to jump in. Sorry, I was just getting distracted at home here by a little bit of noise. Oh yeah, you have to go to events every time. Joined events. Let's see if I can start this now. Still can't start it. I think there's a little bit of a delay until you can jump in. The good thing is there won't be a lot happening at the very beginning. It's a long enough race that people are going to have to think about pacing themselves a little bit. See here, it says upcoming event still. So we're just going to have to keep playing the refresh game. See how much of this I edited out for later. So yeah, it looks like it'll be a good turnout. See, still says starts in 0 minutes. I'm just doing this because I want to catch the very beginning of the ride, right? Let's keep hitting refresh. Keep hitting refresh here and see if we can get this race to start. So, joined events, upcoming events. I think it's on now, so we're going to jump in now. There we go. See that highlight, that lit up right before my eyes there. If you caught that quickly, that watch. Now we're jumping in. Let's get to some racing, folks. I didn't have a chance to go through the start list there. Apologize for that. I imagine there's going to be some massive watts dropped right at the very beginning. So yeah, here we go, folks. So that looks like it was probably like a 30-40 second delay before we got into the ride. I just happened to pop onto this 94th rider here, May 22. What we're going to do is try to pop right to the front. Let's work our way up. just to see where the beasts are riding. Actually, I think I just saw a name I recognize. I think he might be part of our Discord group. I just saw Nelson Snyder there. Yeah, Mamaki right at the front. Stefano Cody, or I've seen this name before. I don't know if it's Stefano Cody or Stefano Cody. Please correct me, someone. Jill Matteo. Jill won the Holiday Challenge race on Sunday, the race that we put on, and I think he finished second in the race yesterday I watched. A lot of big hitters at the front here. This is all going to be like the 5 watt per kilo riders up here. A lot going on. You're going to see these names changing around. Like I'm trying to follow stuff on the side here on the left-hand side of the screen. It's going to constantly change. We'll have to give it a few minutes to settle. So as you said, you can see here what I said earlier. False flat. Even the first little part is false flat. You are going uphill slightly, like this 0.5% stuff, which will be really nice to push against. Yeah, like they're changing spots. There's Jill Matteo again. Cody. I'm just going to call him Cody for now because I don't know if it's Stefan or Stefano. That just makes me laugh because I'm probably butchering it so bad. Let's move our way down a little bit here. We're going to pop back to... Where are we going to pop to? Okay, let's move back a little bit more. There's so many riders here, it's hard to see what's going on. I see a lot of familiar names. Let's let this settle down for a little. Here's Nelson. Nelson, let's focus on Nelson for a bit. Riding 4 watts per kilo in 32nd place. Probably found a nice little bunch to ride in. And I think what you got to realize here, these riders are all smashed in together. I mean, the difference between Thirst and 32nd right now is virtually nothing. If I go right to the front, there's virtually no difference. They're constantly changing position. So we're going to have to let this settle down a little bit. What I'll do is I'm going to pop back to a group further back. Here, we just pop back to 99th place. Who do I see here? I noticed Sylv yesterday. Sylv 30,330 disconnected yesterday as well. So they're obviously having problems with their setup at home. It was a race I was in yesterday. I think it was one of the Czech races yesterday I did. I did okay. I finished 62nd out of, I think there was 180 starters, 200 starters, something like that. So yeah, they're totally disconnected. You can see the riders just blowing by them. Oh wow, and right before my eyes, oh, not good. Here's Jill's. This is a close friend of mine on Rouvy, and he's having disconnect issues as well. We won't be happy. Spro Picker, another very, very strong rider who I've commentated on before, disconnect issues. Okay. I'm just trying to see how many riders we've actually got started here. So it looks like we've got 104 riders started. There are riders riding back here. But you can see Sprout Picker is stopped in the start chute. Gilles looks like he didn't make it very far before disconnecting. He won't be very happy with that. I can see here that Silva's got reconnected. So hopefully these guys hang in there and just reset their apps or their programs on their PCs and get riding again. That's pretty demoralizing. Yep, look at this. Here we go. Silva's riding again. I know this happened to Bashak yesterday. I believe he was in 30th, low 30s positioning. App crashed on him. He scrambled. He got it going again. Ended up losing 10, 12 places, something like that. And I think he ended up finishing 42nd overall. But, you know, probably lost a minute and a half on the field. Jills and Spro Picker, this may be a standstill for them. I guess it all depends how quickly you can start your app up again, right? So let's jump to the front. Here's Cody at the front again. Just rocking it. HSV Cloud, over 6 watts per kilo at this point. We're going to move our way back through the field. Quite a few riders here all bunched up. Mamaki, 10th place. I've seen this name a lot before too. Ortho Stice. Not sure exactly how he pronounces his name, but see this name all over Rudy. There's Gil Matteo. You can see his name right in the middle of the screen right now. I'm circling the mouse around it. Very strong rider. So this rider won the Holiday Challenge race on Sunday, and I possibly won the race yesterday as well. I'll have to take a look at that. Obviously, he races quite a bit. Here's one of the team members from the GUR team. I'm not sure how they say it. GURE. They have a huge team. I think they're based, Spanish team. Or that's where they're based out of anyways. Let's just go down. Here's Nelson now, moved up to 18th position from 33rd. And looks like there's a bit of a gap. So he's 100 meters behind the person in 17th place. And little gaps are starting to break now. Like here's 14 meters, 30 meters back. Little groups of people. And this is what you kind of expect. It's going to start to settle down slowly. You know, you get to points too. Like here's 3-4 riders riding together. Cyril, this 68 level rider, this A2 rider. They're all riding together. And then Fabio 66 is out front riding solo. But catching up to Nelson. So these two need to group up right now, I would say. Nelson and Fabio 66 need to get together. Come on, Fabio, get up there. And see if you guys can work together. Oh, looks like Nelson's starting to pull away again. Okay, let's work further back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop quickly way to the back to see if certain people got moving. No, Gilles is broken down here. I think he was so powerful in his sprint that he snapped his chain. Let's give it that. Sorry, Gilles. Moving up, 100th place, M. Rump with Silv 330 ahead of him. Silv had a bad start. Looks like a disconnect. Scam way up the field here. I want to give shout-outs to people that I know and those that I don't either. So you can see here people are spreading out now. So this is where you want to get with someone to, to get a little bit of a draft. Okay, this rider here, I saw their name distinctly yesterday because it caught my eye. Warfarin Orion. I saw this rider, so obviously this person likes to race a lot too. Looks like a nice strong rider here, riding 3.5 watts per kilo plus. So here we're on a bit of rollers, but it's still just gradually up and down, up and down. Working our way up through the field. I'm just looking at all the names. It's surprising how many people are on Rouvy. Like, the fact that some of these names I've never seen before, for the amount that I ride, I guess it's mostly because I don't do a lot of racing. That's my guess. So we're just going to keep moving the way up. I thought I saw a name earlier that I recognized, and I'm hoping to find them because I thought it was someone from our group. Maybe I was wrong. Oh, here's one of them. Here's Roger, riding strong. Roger's sitting in a group. Looks like a strong little group here. I'm looking at least on screen 6, 7, 8 riders here. Look at this guy. This rocket just fly up here. Yeah, this is like solid 3.5 watts per kilo here. So again, I've known Roger 2.5 years now on Rouvy. One of the first ever people I routinely rode bikes with. Him and Gilles. So Gilles is broken down at the start of the race. Roger is riding here in 50th spot. Looking great. 4 watts per kilo here. Just doing his thing with these folks. I'm just going to pop back a little bit and see how big this group might be. Yeah, it looks like there's 6 or 7 of them together here. Let's keep our eye on Roger here for a little bit. Looking strong in 50th position. 78th level overall level now on Rouvy. So yeah, just stay in the draft. He's got a draft on Stanislav right now. Okay, so we know where Roger is. He's roughly 50th, so I know where to come back to. Again, just going to move up the field trying to catch some names. That's not the name I was actually looking for. I forgot Roger was racing in this one today. I just thought I saw someone else, I remembered. Okay, so we're getting up to the real race beasts up here now. Now we're like more the 4 watt per kilo range guys at the front here. See who I recognize. Where? Okay, so I know Nelson was in 18th place before. Looks like Nelson has moved up some more. Now he's in 16th place. Gil Matteo ahead of him. I've mentioned that name a lot today. I've just seen him a lot recently. So looks like the top 20 riders are all like the 4 watt per kilo riders. Probably average on these races. And we will go right back to the front. Cody's up there still. Cody, HSV, Claude. Cody's making a push for it here. This is impressive. Almost 5.5 watts. 5.5 watts per kilo now. Not almost, but he's right there. Little false flat. We're at 0.6% incline going up. And then you see we'll be downhill. He'll pick up a little bit of speed. I wonder if he's actually trying to get away from these riders behind him and just like go solo all the way. Sorry folks, that's my phone ringing here. Looks like a telephone solicitor who I'm going to definitely ignore. Yeah, Cody's pulling away here. It was 23 meters just before, now we're at 37. But Claude's putting down some huge watts, 6 watts per kilo plus. Trying to bridge up. And I think he's doing that because you can see the next group back. There's at least 5 riders I can see on the screen right now, and they're all like 100 meters back behind Claude. Claude's got to play that game now. Like, do I jump ahead to work with Cody, or do I fall all the way back? Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. Totally in no man's land there. So you can see the rider. Oh, so Claude can actually see Cody ahead of him here. But it keeps stretching out now. Okay. And these guys coming up from behind, a big group of riders. So I think Claude did back off there because I saw no power for a very short time. And now the riders behind have all caught up with him. Let's see what happens here. Now he's pushing reasonable power again to ride with these folks that just came up from behind. And yeah, here we go. So we've got a big bunch of riders behind. It looks like there could be 10, 20, yeah, 15, 20 riders right here with our lone solo break out front. It's quite exciting. So Cody's out front, pushing 5 watts per kilo. Cody's at level 33. Maybe I'll just go with Stefano. I think Stefano. Can't really tell by the avatar, but yeah, let's say it's Stefano. And slowly pulling away here. The group behind is at 120 meters behind, so hopefully Stefano is a climber, because we do have a couple little blips coming up here. So it's going to be downhill to our first split, which you can see on the bottom of the profile here. A little bit of false flat, and then there is just a tiny little bit of a climb. I mean, imagine that's probably like 7 to 8% stuff. And then more, probably really more false flat. Through this section on the bottom of the profile here. Kind of more ups and downs, maybe a little bit more gradient, maybe more in that 2 to 3% stuff before we hit this first climb here. So looking really strong at the front here, still pushing 350 watts and still holding the beasts at bay. The pack is behind him and he's holding the entire pack off right now. Okay, he's got some time to reduce the power a little bit here because now he's into a downhill, a little bit of a descent, 1.5%, 2% gradient going downhill here. I'm going to jump back to some other groups. Let's pop back to this group here. Here we are. Wow, we just happened to be on Nelson. That was just total coincidence. Nelson's kind of riding solo here. He's trying to catch back on to that group ahead of him. So it looks like Nelson's in 16th. I'd say there's 15 riders at the front, with 14 of them chasing our solo break. And Nelson's by himself with a few other riders just behind him, 150, 200 meters back. Probably quite a few chasing him. L Tractor, I've seen that name before. Part of this group chasing back on. Let's get back to this group here. This should be, okay, maybe it's this group here. This should be the Roger group. If I go back to 50th, see what we can find here. Okay, 50th. Okay, so Roger was very close to Stanislav before. Tuna Tornado. That's the name I saw before. And I apologize if I'm incorrect, but Tuna is a member of our Discord group. I'm almost positive. And here's Roger. 56th place. Pushing hard. So I think they've been gapped a little bit. So Tuna Tornado was the name I kept saying before. I wasn't saying the name. I was saying I think I saw someone's name, and then I found Roger riding. I forgot that he was riding today. But yeah, Tuna is just killing it up there, doing really well. So I think Tuna and Roger might have been together for a little bit, and there's been a bit of a split. This Stanislav was with Roger before, and so they pushed ahead a little bit by themselves, and maybe he's towed this Tuna Tornado up there. Looks like Roger's got himself in a pretty good group here. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them anyways. Could be more as I go down. Yeah, it could be upwards of 10 riders here with Apple Max being right with them. Lopo 78 is there as well. Okay, I'm going to jump back to a group further back here. Kaizen 69. Okay. Here's Warfer and Orion again. Again, saw that name yesterday. Let's jump back to a further group. Looks like we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 main groups on the road. We're on Thomas 68. Now, a lot of these names I haven't seen before, and that's just probably because I don't do a lot of racing. Lubo 63. Here's Silv coming up through the pack. Remember, Silv was at the very beginning, just shut down on the side of the road. I think they got maybe 20, 30 meters down the road and they disconnected. So Silva's got a lot of work. I think Silva will probably pass a lot of people here because 89th place right now, but, you know, probably catching a bit of a break here right now on that rider, getting a bit of a draft. But I think Silva's going to push more power and slowly start moving past riders. And that looks like what he's doing. Let's get to the back of the field. I always like to look at the back too. See all these names? Yeah, so Jill's just completely destroyed his chain. Probably like just shattered the whole cassette in his sprint start. Sprout Picker. I've watched Sprout Picker win a race at Captive Fermentor. It's one of my videos. You can jump back and have a look at that. That was a 3-way sprint finish. The first race I ever commentated to. So our last rider in the race is a rider here. It is level 35 rider named Tremal. Actually riding nice and strong. I think Tremal might have started a little bit late. I think I did see someone starting when I was checking out Gilles and Sprout Picker broken down at the back. Tremal is riding over 3 watts per kilo, so doing a really nice ride. Okay, we're going to jump back to the front and see that Stefano. Yeah, he looks like a Stefano, doesn't he? Yeah. Trying to see his avatar. This is Stefano. Still holding the field off. So he's gotten over that first bump. Actually, let's jump back to that bump. I want to see how tough it is. We're going to go back a tiny bit here throughout the field. So here's that hill I was talking about. The first little climb. These guys are just getting it. We're going to stay on Buana 38 here. Doing a nice ride. 3.5 to 4 watts per kilo. Coming out of the false flat, hitting the first real climb. It's short, just a little kicker. It's going to get everyone prepared like, hey, this false flat stuff's going to be over quick. Yeah, we go up a little side road here, and you're into that 8, 9, 10% stuff. But, you know, it's short. It's just a quick little wake-up call that the pain's coming at the end. So that's interesting to see. I do this a lot when I do my route recons. I like to watch people ride, and I will pick names out. I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just saying that I'll click at any random rider that's riding over that orange-red stuff, just so I can get it into my brain how tough it's going to be when I really get there. So we're going to pop back to the front now and see how Stefano's doing. Stefano's pulling away at this point. 6 watts per kilo, pushing hard on the false flat. 7 watts per kilo on the false flat here. Hammer down time. 40k an hour, up a slight hill. Very impressive. Looks like we got corn here on the side of the roads growing. That's what it looks like to me. 6-7 feet tall. Yeah, sure it is. Nice mountains in the background. Slightly overcast today. Something I've been noticing on a lot of my rides, and I ride a lot alone, but I got my ghosties with me, is that, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the shadows on Rouvy are what I would call dynamic. And that those shadows that are on the screen are moving with the direction of the sunlight that's in this course. So right now the sun is behind us to the right side. So the shadow is going to cast to the left side. The shadow is mimicking the shadows that are on the course, essentially. I never noticed that until maybe 3 or 4 rides ago when I had all my ghosty friends around me, particularly Emma. She always seems to be the one that stays with me the most. That their shadows move the whole time. You can see here, Stefano's shadow is moving. And actually it's really good too when you see real shadows from the real world. It's lining up really well. Just keep an eye on it as you're watching. If I jump back a little bit, you'll probably see the same kind of thing. I mean, I guess it's more overcast here, so you're not seeing shadows. Here, it looks like the sun is directly behind this person. Now, as they start swinging to the left, it's going to move over to the left side. The sun's behind them again, so the shadow goes to the front. So here's my question. Answer in the comments if you'd like. Have you noticed that before on Rouvy? Because I didn't until maybe less than 2 weeks ago. Let's bomb to the front. Actually, I want to go back to the rear of the course again. Here's Tramal. See what I mean? The last place rider on this race today is doing a really great ride here. 3.5 watts per kilo. Moving their way up through the course. M Rump doing another great ride. I just noticed here HSV Claude. HSV Claude was in second place for a while. They had disconnect issues as well. That's a shame. So let's get back up here. Let's see who we can see. Going to try to get back to the Roger group right here. Roger is with a group of strong riders. Looks like he's got a bit of a gap to him. Tiziano 60 is 70 meters ahead with Jean F10 a couple 100 meters behind. Roger's got to decide ride alone or group up with someone here. I think he'll ride alone. Roger's done a lot of racing, so he knows what to do. We're going to move up the field a bit more. Oop, it's not moving as quick as I'd like. Up to 36th place. Got a level 68 rider here. Like, these are all super strong riders. Like, when you're riding at this kind of power this far into a race, like we're 25 minutes in, and most of these riders are still pushing like 3.5 at times. You'll see lower numbers, but that's when they're drafting. Like Buana 38 here is getting a nice little draft out of the rider ahead of them. Julski here, yeah, just taking a break. But soon as they want to go, they're all 3.5, 4 watt per kilo riders. These are very seasoned riders who obviously do a lot of training. I don't think I'd be hanging here right now. Maybe on the right day, but not today. So here's some of the category riders. You'll see these A7, A6 numbers, A2 riders. I think that's a base. It's based off of your average watts per kilos in certain races. I'm not sure exactly how it works. It gets used in these Mamaki races a lot. Fabio 66 we saw earlier. Let's get back to the front. So we've climbed over another. Let's see what's Stefano going to be doing now. What position is he in now? How big is his lead? Stefano is still pulling out a lead. He is on a downhill section, and the folks behind him are slowly climbing. But it's not a big climb. He doesn't have much of a descent here. We're talking like 1-2%. Just bombing down through this little forest here. Careful on these corners. Gil Matteo coming to the front again. Super strong rider. Seen his name everywhere lately. And so you can see here like this A2 rider. A2, I guess is going to be James maybe. A2 James Robbie, I guess. A2, that's a high classification. Here's another one. A2 Daniel. These are all like big power riders, or high watts per kilo riders. So just to, if you don't know anything about the classification system, like I really don't, the higher the number, the A2. A2 is obviously a lot better than an A9. A2 means you're pushing probably, 4.5 watts per kilo average, and A9 might mean you're a 2.5. That's all that means. So some people enter this classification system. I'm not sure if you sign up for it, you register for it. Okay, let's go here. So they're now on the descent now. So Stefano is just finishing the descent here, as you can see on the profile. 0% now. False flat coming up again, but the climbs are starting soon. He's got a 300-meter lead. Will this hold? Can this rider go all the way by themselves? This is going to be really exciting. And I'm hoping this is going to make for some easy editing for me later, because I'm a lazy editor. I don't have good editing software. I'm at the point now where I'm just about to buy some editing software to make my life a little bit easier. But I think this race will be exciting enough, watching this chase of Stefano and Stefano on the break. I'm just going to let the whole video play tonight. So record it and just enjoy what you like and skip the rest that you don't like. So yeah, you can see way at the back here, broken down rider. This is an A3 Fabio. And then we see Gilles and Sprout Picker still. Here's Tremal, late starter, 3.8 watts per kilo. If this rider would have started on time, he was probably doing up his shoes or forgot his water bottle, something like that. Maybe like me, where you jump on the bike 30 seconds before the race starts and kind of mistimed it that day. Tremal would have been a lot further up in this race. I think Tremal would have been in the 50s or the 60s. So let's just jump up to that part of the world and see. You can see these riders here are riding, 3 to 4 watts per kilo. And our friend Tremal here, 3 watts per kilo still would have been hanging right there with them. Just going to follow some different groups for a little bit. This couple watts per kilo back here. But some other strong riders nearby too, maybe catching up with people. Maybe another late starter. We've got Antonio here, Andre, Gianni, jumping around. Okay, so let's get back to the front on the hills. So here's Stefano. So Stefano has hit the start of the first real climb. We're at 12%, and you can see how the distance between the two groups is like rubber banded or accordion down. So as they're on the flatter inclines, they're going to start catching up quick here. Stefano needs to get through this really dark orange stuff, this 13% stuff here, pushing 5 watts per kilo. Stefano looks like about a 62 kilo rider. So he's through the worst of it at this 14%. Riders behind are less than 100 meters back now. Now he needs to hold on, get into some of the shallower gradients as they suffer through the steep stuff. So they pulled him back to 92 meters, 91 meters. There's a rider coming up behind, Breer's 33, pushing 6 watts per kilo. But that rider's also hauling up everyone with them. Gil Matteo is there, Major Sala, Valderrama, this A2 rider, James Rouvy, who I mentioned earlier. So you can see this A2 means you're like one of the front ends, tip of the spear riders, right? This looks like, I guess you'd say it's Riskies, Gur, Mark J, 5, 6 watts. Here's this Daniel, this other A2 rider. El Bramba, Sabadin, 2008. Here's that name I can never pronounce. Orthostice. Ah, Mamaki is on screen right now with Orthostice. Interesting to see. And Nelson is still riding solo, but coming up. 14th place for Nelson. Let's get back to the front and see if Stefano is holding on. Holding on. Holding on. So Stefano wants to get over this hill, get a little bit of descent in to get away again. So here's Breers 33 and Gil Matteo. Again, Gil Matteo, seen him race. Very good rider. So there, Stefano's going to get a little bit of a break here. This last little kicker that looks like it's going to be 12% up through here. And then he's got to descent to escape again. So this is where I always talk about you want to get that one hill in between you and your pursuers. Look, he's dropping 8 watts, 8.5 watts per kilo at this point in the race. To get over the hill, to sprint down the other side at 9 watts per kilo, to quickly start accelerating away. And you watch the distance on the left side now, the separations. Just watch it grow. So they're still climbing, and Stefano is escaping. So if I go back to Breers now, so Breers on the descent now too. They're all going to be doing the exact same thing. Get over that hill and try to escape. So you can see here it went from 90 meters to 300 meters now on second place. I'm sure Stefano now will be concentrating on recovering, getting the heart rate down. That's the one thing you never get to see on here. The heart rate's always private. You see in the top left-hand corner here, the heart rate doesn't show. You will see mine on every ride because you're watching a screen capture of my ride. So Stefano is still escaping, but Breers is coming back. Let's see how far they really bring it back here. You kind of have to like find a point, like maybe at the next split coming up, I'll be able to like take a time check and see how much, once Stefano hits it, we'll see what the gap is, and then we'll see what the gap is when the other riders hit it, and then we'll know for sure. So currently it's around 250 meters. That's going to change and fluctuate here as we're going up and down this hill. They're all hitting different segments. The guys behind are probably on the steeper stuff still. But yeah, so we've got, how many people do we have here? Looks like there's probably 6 riders in a group chasing. Yeah, there's 6 riders in a group chasing Stefano. This is the bunch right here. Valderrama, James Roby, Gil Matteo, Riskies, Breers. Hopefully I haven't missed any names here. I'm trying to get them all with Stefano out front. So these 6 are chasing hard. So first is alone. Then we've got second through, would it be 7th all together. You got 6 riders working together as a team, hunting the one rider down. Mark J, Daniel, Albramba. So down to 10th place. They're all very close, all within a couple hundred meters of each other. So things can change here. So they're still descending. Yeah, Stefano still up front. 375 meter lead. He's going to start hitting some little climbs. And I would say what's coming up is maybe a little bit more than false flat. Maybe it's 3 to 4%. Maybe that's still false flat for some people. Yeah, we'll call it false flat. Till we hit this orangey red stuff here where my mouse pointer is right now. If you can see that, I'm going to jump back and see where some of my crew members are. Let's see where Roger is. Roger was in the 60s before. Ah, here he is. He's still hanging in 63rd place. Nice job. And we're going to move up, and here is Tuna Tornado. Tuna Tornado is in 55th place, 3 watts per kilo, coming up to the steepest part of this hill. He's in the 9% stuff right now, and he's chasing Stanislav still. He's been with Stanislav for most of this race. Tuna, let's keep watching, in the 11%. I think this hit 14 at one point. But it's super short, like probably 10, 15 meters of that. Here we're at 13%, 14%, and it'll start to ease off after this. Okay, let's make our way to the front again. Let's just pick this Red Rider. Who is this? Sabadine 2008. Mamaki and Orthostais are together. Nelson is still riding solo, with 300 meters in front to 300 meters behind, just doing his thing. Okay. I'm going to keep a good eye on Stefano right now. So the lead is down to 234 meters. And yeah, you can see there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 riders in a group back to Valderrama here. And Mark J is only 54 meters behind them. Mark J has a chance to move up and make it a 7-man group hunting down Stefano. Let's take a look at Mark J. He's a level 86 rider, so a very seasoned rider. He's got a 150 meter gap to the riders behind him. Well, 130, sorry. There's a couple riders there together. So is Mark J going to be able to catch up here? 54 meters currently. He can see them now. You can see their names popping up on the screen. They might be backing off a bit. It looks like their power is a lot lower, and Mark's trying to catch them. Okay, we're going to keep an eye on this one too. Yeah, he's pulling the back. Okay, Stefano. Starting the climb. So here we go. We're at 3%. I guess this is still false flattish through here. 4%, be able to push good power. 6 watts per kilo, 6.5. Almost 7. There we go, 7. He's accelerating hard on these climbs to keep his speed up. Yeah, like 40k an hour still. And so at this point we're almost 27 kilometers into the race. We've only got 4.3 kilometers to go. So you can see here on the bottom of the screen too, if you're following along, we've climbed 294 meters, or Stefano has 295 now, and he's still got 240 to go. Oh, that's the first time I've seen that on the app. Yeah, he's motoring right along. So he's still got he's got almost 50% of the climb, maybe 40% of the climbing still to go in the last little, 10% of the race. 10, 15%. And again, he's pulling away again. He's racing really smart. So yeah, we still got these 6 chasing. Did Mark J catch on? He's getting close. Mark is getting close. He's working really hard to get on. I mean, you can see the riders right ahead of him here. So he's at 30 meters now. Before he was at 60 meters, so he's working hard to pull them back. They're all probably conserving power. Maybe riding not as hard, and Mark's going to have to push through hard here to catch them. When he gets there, he's going to have to just not take a turn for a little bit, rest, recover, stay in the draft. And I think those riders ahead will know what he's done and kind of yep, you do your thing, hide for a little bit, but be prepared to race all out. So Mark's got to get back on and recover quickly here before we hit this deep orangey red stuff at the end. Actually, I guess this is still just technically orange to me. I don't see any red. I think red probably starts at around 15%. So here's Mark. He's caught them. He's caught Valderrama. He's with them now. Actually, Valderrama looks like he's been gapped a little bit. Maybe he was just switching gears. No, he's pushing hard again, so he's fine. Just a tiny bit of a gap there. Oop, Valderrama has disconnected. That's what was going on there. That is a shame. Okay, he's back. Valderrama's back, though. Okay. Slight disconnect, Bluetooth communications, who knows, right? So now he's going to be in a panic to get right back in with these guys. So you can see Mark J now is right with the group. This Riskies has fallen back a tiny bit with Mark. And we got Breers up ahead, James Rouvy, Major Sala, and Gilles Matteo. Got a police car here blocking the road. Get going. Okay. Stefano is still doing it. Okay, so this is where the race is really going to come down, is right here. Stefano has been gone from the rest, I would say for at least 15 kilometers by himself. He was riding with Jill Matteo earlier. And I think I missed the break. When I rewatch the video, I'm going to watch closely to see where it happened, if I was on that part. So here we go. We're at 11% here. 13% in this deep orange here, up to 14. And then it's going to back off quickly. So you're going to see the numbers on the side coming down quick again. Look at the numbers between Stefano and Breers. They're just coming down. Because he's on the steep stuff and they're still on relatively flat. It's going to just like squish the race back down together now. Stefano will be on some flatter stuff as they're hitting that really steep stuff. So let's just back up again. Watch me bounce back and forward here. So Stefano is going to have this little tiny bit of yellow to get through. Whereas Breers behind is now going to be hitting 11, 12, 13, 14% through here. This is going to slow him down a lot. So it looks like Breers is trying to make a move. He's put almost 20 meters between him and Jill Matteo. And take a look at Mark J. So Mark J is the rider that was 67 meters back there for about 2 to 3 kilometers chasing that 6-man group. And Mark J is at the front now with these guys. So pretty impressive ride to do that chase by himself as they're working together and then actually get ahead of a few of them. Okay. So Stefano is still holding them. So but look at this here. We're down to just over 100 meter separation. Stefano got a bit of a break there, 5, 6, 7%. Now is going to be hit with probably 14% gradient again. So if Stefano can stay ahead through this deep red stuff, I think he's got it. Because after that, it's more, it eases back to probably 3, 4% to up to 7%, and he looks like a pretty strong rider. He's pushing 4.8 watts per kilo. Breers behind is chasing hard, trying to get back on. They're within 50 meters now. They're coming back. Breers and Jill Matteo are going to bring this back together potentially. This 14% may be a little bit too much now for Stefano. Yeah, the riders behind are pushing 2 to 3 watts per kilo more. See how long they can hold that for, though. And let's just see what Stefano has left at the end. They may just blow themselves up chasing him down here. But this is where the race is going to... This is it right here. So I'm going to stay on these folks. I want to jump back, but I don't want to miss this either. Yep, so the catch is being made right now. They've caught Stefano. But they've paid a price to do it. Here we go. So here's Breers coming up. And has dragged up Jill Matteo as well. I think they might have been working together. They're doing like 6.5 watts per kilo. Stefano is in the 4s now, 4.5. We're at 15% gradient here. And those two riders have just ridden right past Stefano. So 16, 17%. This hurts here. This is getting into the definition of wall. I always say it's right at 16%. So 2 riders up front with a 20-meter gap, back to Stefano. And then Stefano has got a 60-meter lead over Mark J, the rider that did all that solo riding to get back on. Okay, so let's bounce back a bit. I want to catch any teammates. There's Tuna Tornado, still in 55th place, so he's kind of settled down, just holding that spot. But he's ahead of Stanislav now, who he rode with for quite a while. And now I'm going back to find Roger. And Roger is in 65th place, still cruising along, looking good. Quite a few riders here. Looks like there's one rider that's just broken down. They just all blew right past him. Okay, I'm going to go to this group here, see where Nelson is. There's El Tractor. I think Nelson was in 16th place. He's moved up to 14th now. Not that far behind Orthostice and Mamaki. Sabadine's there. Daniel, El Bramba, James Roby, Major Sala. So this is that 6-man group that was all coming after Stefano earlier. So back to the front. Here's Jill 'Watched him race, watched him win a couple days ago. Breers is right on him. Stefano hanging in there. Okay, he's finished the main part of the climb, so he's got some rollers now and just little bumps stepping upwards, 6-7% type things. Mark J might have a chance of coming back as Stefano. Okay, let's keep an eye on the front because this is the race winning pair right here. Jill Matteo, a level 28 rider, 5 watts per kilo. Breers 33, a level 62 rider. Just these two are riding side by side. We're in that 7% stuff. Dropping down to 6. So yeah, I think this is all going to be like 5 to maybe 7-8% coming up here. We have 1.23 kilometers to go with 60 meters of climbing, so there's a bit of climbing left. Is this going to come down to a sprint? Interesting. So we're going to have a bit more of a climb here. Jill's just holding strong at the front. I think Breers is just matching him as best he can. It actually hits 9% through here. They're both powering up, both over 5 watts per kilo, 5.5 watts per kilo, into a bit of flattish to downhill. And then that last little bit of climbing coming up. Looks like 2 8% sections with just a smidgen of easier in the middle. Okay, looks like Breers is catching his breath here. I saw the power drop a little bit. Stefano is working hard again. 6.3 watts per kilo here, 7 watts per kilo. Probably trying to make sure he stays away from Mark J, who's still rolling up behind him. Okay, looking good. Let's keep an eye on Jill's here. Okay, Breers has decided to take the lead, pushing almost 8 watts per kilo here. Jill has to respond with the same. They're both close to 8 watts per kilo through this section. But I think this is Breers' move right here. Jill's is countering. Jill Matteo counters and comes right back by him. What's left in the tank here? Stefano still riding strong. 5 to 6 watts per kilo, holding that third place. Okay, here is the last little bit of climbing. Who's going to attack here? Gil Matteo has, just a few meters between Breers and himself. Looks like Breers is winding something up here, 6 watts per kilo. Yeah, okay, here we go. Breers is pushing 8.2 watts per kilo. Gil Matteo responds. They're both at 8 watts per kilo right now. Breers has a 12-meter lead over Gil with 250 meters to go. Can he come back? I'm going to stay on Gil because he's doing the chasing. Breers is holding strong. I just saw Gil's power drop to under 4. That's because they hit the flats, though. There's a 60-meter gap now. We're down to 80 meters to go. Unless Gil's got a huge sprint here, Breers has just locked this race up. Yep. Breers 33 just won. Gil Matteo in second place. Let's get back to Stefano. Holding third place. 50 meters back to Valderrama. Valderrama's moved up well. Mark J's in 5th place. Risky's Gur, Major Sala, A2 James Rouvy, El Bramba, Sabadine, Daniel, Nelson Snyder, 12th place. Just ahead of Orthos Dyson Mamaki. Let's keep an eye on Stefano here. I mean, this rider here did the most by himself. The most combative award goes to Stefano. And 3rd place overall. So, great job by Stefano. Still riding strong at 5 watts per kilo. Oh, we might miss. I just saw Valderrama finish. I got to back up a little bit. Risky's, Major Sala's coming in. Yeah, they've all got their little gaps now. Okay, so we're going to back up a bit here again. Where is Tuna? Tuna Tornado. 55th place, still riding in 55th. With Apple Max and Lopo 78 coming up from behind. They're pushing hard. There is Stanislav. I know Tuna rode a lot with Stanislav. He's still a little bit ahead of him. Now Roger looks like he's holding his place really well. 64th place. It's just starting the last tough climb. And take a look here. Right behind Roger is Silv, 30,330. This is the rider that was broken down at the very start. And they've moved their way up to 66th place. I think at one time, the last time I watched them, I think we were looking at them and they were at 89th place overall. Warfren Orion, it's a name I won't forget. Let's pop back. Okay, we got here's some broken down riders. Yeah, these riders are probably all broken down. But here's M Rump. Still doing it, 3 watts per kilo up this climb. I wonder where that Trammell went. There's Trammell. So I think Trammell was our late starter. There's quite a few late starters, I believe. Nelson Snyder, 5 watts per kilo here at the finish. Just getting the last little bit of the climb out of the way. Looks like he's put a gap between himself and Mamaki and Orthostice. Yep, so 12th place, that's the rider we're watching. The next one coming up, there's no one ahead of him at this point, so we've had 1st through 11th finish. Orthostice, Mamaki, Ray MDO, I'm not sure if that's Raymondo or... We got Keith here, Jens MTB, Homo Rudelans, Francois. Here's El Tractor.